Well, welcome to the College of Education and Human Services Celebration of Scholars event. This is part 2 of our day. We're going to have a short series of faculty Ed Talks featuring 5 of our faculty members. We'll start with the first one in just a moment. We are going to endeavor to announce the winners of our poster presentations this morning, our undergraduate and graduate winners. I have my fingers crossed that the judges are going to be able to compile those scores very quickly and give me a final tally. And we'll intersperse announcements of those winners during the Ed Talks. So we're going to get started right away with our first presentation by Dr. Sara Anderson.
Good morning. How is everyone? I'm very happy to be here this morning to share with you some of my research and some of my thoughts about pre-K or pre-kindergarten, which is the instruction of 3 and 4-year-olds, although most of the work I'll be talking about today covers 4-year-olds. So why so much talk about pre-K? Why do we care about pre-K? So a couple of months ago, this was one of the articles in the Washington Post. It was by 3 of the leaders in the field in pre-K research. And the headline, should speak for itself. What the researchers concluded was that preschool or pre-K can provide a boost, but they questioned how long that boost was. Well, in the field of pre-K research, this is actually a relatively contentious thing to say. And a lot of advocates feel differently as well. So there are a number of letters to the editor trying to push back a little bit about their conclusions. And none other than Nobel Prize winner James Heckman was one of those letter writers who pushed back against this notion that the preschool or pre-K effects fade into middle school and high school. He's done a lot of high quality work with looking at pre-K and the effects of pre-K long term. So with that as a bit of an introduction and overview about what we see about pre-K in the popular press, I wanted to describe to you what pre-K is as I define it and as the research field defines it. So what we have here is the proportion of 3 and 4-year-olds that are served by pre-K in the United States. As you can see, in the last 15 years or so, the proportion has doubled in terms of 4-year-olds with a pretty stagnant levels of 3-year-olds that are served by pre-K. I should mention that this is public pre-K, so that means pre-K that is funded by state dollars. This excludes federal services such as Head Start. And so this does include pre-K programs such as we have here in West Virginia. It also includes pre-K that is served through public schools and through collaborative sites and other means as well, again, like we have in West Virginia. So where is pre-K right now? This is a map of where children are served by pre-K in terms of the proportion of 4-year-olds served. And as you can see, it's difficult to break down in terms of red state, blue state. The only particular region of the country where we don't see much pre-K is really the West. And there's some changes now with that. Seattle's launched a pre-K program. But we really see pre-K, policymakers have consistently, in diverse states across the country, seen pre-K as a mechanism to help boost early skills of 3 and 4-year-olds. So what does the research say? I've been privileged for the last number of years to work on a long-term follow-up of one particular pre-K program in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, it was the 2nd state to adopt universal pre-K. That's pre-K that is available for all 4-year-olds, regardless of income, of language background, etc. It is not compulsory, so like in West Virginia, you can enroll in it, you don't have to enroll in it. And it is also delivered almost exclusively through public schools. So, and teachers have to be paid on the same wage, they have the same requirements as any other teacher in the elementary school, and there are very high other inputs such as student-teacher ratios and things like that. So it's really one of the models in the country for universal pre-K. So early results of this study did show impressive early boosts in terms of cognitive skills and some social emotional as well. We followed them now into middle school, asking the question, with this program, do we see the same effects continue into middle school? And these next couple slides show some promising results. So what we did find is that for math achievement test scores, that children are performing significantly better by 7th grade. We also see that 33% fewer children are actually retained in grade from kindergarten through the end of middle school, which is a significant difference and also has a real potential to be a cost-saving mechanism for these districts who are implementing pre-K. Because as you know, if a kid is in school another year, you're going to be paying for that child to be in school another year. If you get pre-K and the kids aren't retained, you aren't going to have to contend with that. However, our study and our program is not the only program out there. So this is a randomized control trial conducted by a number of people at Vanderbilt University who, in Tennessee, they have a targeted universal program that's income tested, so it's only for low-income children. They randomly assign children to this program and some to not be enrolled in the program, and they followed them from kindergarten into middle school. And yes, these results are about as sad as you can imagine. So you do see that early boost when they are 5 years old, that's age on the x-axis. But what you see is by the end of elementary school, those effects have really converged. You do see those kids performing as well as, you don't see them performing any better than the peers who were not in pre-K. And these are, students with similar background characteristics. Okay, so what do we make of these findings? These are 2 different programs in 2 different states, and how do we make sense of this, and how do states and municipalities decide whether or not to put support behind pre-K education? I think the most important thing to remember, so I'm a developmental psychologist, so I think about the whole child. So when I think about these results, I have to think about children and where they are. So these are 2 pictures of 2 very different places, Camden, New Jersey, and Marblehead, Massachusetts, a very affluent suburb of Boston. So imagine for a moment if pre-K didn't exist. There was no pre-K, if there was no Head Start. If families and children had to figure out a place for their 4-year-olds to access care or educational experiences. I think we can all agree that if there was no such thing as pre-K, that it would be difficult to level the playing field for children in these vastly different contexts, with vastly different resources and experiences for them to be exposed to. So I still think that the jury is still out, and there needs to be a lot of more high-quality research done, considering where kids are and the types of pre-K programs. But I am encouraged by a lot of the results, and I'm excited to keep doing this work. Thank you.